Imagine it's late at night. You and someone you love are parked on a quiet road. No streetlights, no other cars, just the two of you and the dark. Then someone walks up to your window. The next morning, police find your car. But the person who came out of the darkness? Gone. No fingerprints. No witnesses. No name. Just a mask. In the spring of 1946, a killer terrorized an entire American city for 10 straight weeks. He attacked in the dark. He vanished without a trace. And he was never, ever caught. This is the story of the Texarkana Phantom Killer. And it is far more terrifying than any horror movie, because every single word of it is true. To understand this story, you first need to understand the town. Texarkana is unlike any other city in America. It sits right on the border between Texas and Arkansas, and I mean literally on the border. State Line Avenue runs straight through the middle of downtown. Stand on one side of the street, you're in Texas. Cross to the other side, you're in Arkansas. 2 states, 2 police departments, 2 sets of laws, 1 city. In 1946, Texarkana had a population of around 44,000 people. It was a quiet, working-class town. Everyone knew everyone. World War II had just ended. Soldiers were coming home. Families were reuniting. The whole country was exhaling, trying to return to something normal. But in Texarkana, normal was about to become a memory. Because something was hunting in the dark. February 23, 1946. 24-year-old Jimmy Hollis and his girlfriend Mary Jewel Larry were parked on a lonely road called Mosin Lane on the outskirts of town. It was late. The road was empty. Then a figure emerged from the darkness. He was wearing a mask, crude, homemade, cut from a cloth sack. 2 holes for the eyes. Nothing else. He ordered Jimmy out of the car. Then he beat him, savagely, with a blunt object, shattering his skull. Jimmy collapsed to the ground. Then the attacker turned to Mary. She ran, screaming, barefoot through the dark. She made it to a nearby house and pounded on the door until someone answered. By some miracle, both Jimmy and Mary survived. But when police investigated, they noticed something deeply unsettling. He hadn't stolen anything. No money, no car, no valuables. This wasn't a robbery. This was something else entirely. And it was only the beginning. Exactly 1 month later, March 24, 1946, he came back. This time, he didn't leave survivors. Richard Griffin, 29, and Polly and Moore, 17, were found shot to death on a remote road just outside of town. Polly had been assaulted before she was killed. The town felt the first real wave of fear. But the phantom wasn't finished. April 14, 1946. 3 weeks later, Paul Martin, 16, and Betty Jo Booker, 15, 2 teenagers who had just played at a local dance, were found murdered. Paul's body was discovered on a road. Betty Jo was found nearly a mile away in the woods. She had been shot multiple times. Police now saw the pattern clearly. Remote locations, nighttime, young couples, parked cars, and that mask. The local newspaper gave him a name, the Phantom Killer. That name spread across the country overnight. And Texarkana was never the same again. What happened next in Texarkana has almost no parallel in modern American history. An entire city shut down after dark. People stopped going out at night. Restaurants and theaters emptied by sunset. No one parked on lonely roads. No one walked alone. Gun sales exploded. Hardware stores sold out of locks and deadbolts. Families slept with loaded weapons beside their beds. The Texas Rangers were called in. The FBI got involved. Hundreds of law enforcement officers flooded the region. Roadblocks were set up. Suspects were pulled in for questioning by the dozens. And still, nothing. No fingerprints at any scene. No credible witnesses. No physical evidence that could be traced. He moved through the night like a ghost. Newspapers across the country ran headlines about Texarkana. The story gripped the nation. Some locals started to whisper that maybe the phantom wasn't human at all. Maybe he was something that couldn't be caught. And then he proved them right. May 3, 1946. The phantom broke his own rules. This time, it wasn't a young couple parked in the dark. Virgil Starks, 36, was sitting in his living room reading a newspaper when a bullet came through the window and killed him instantly. His wife Katie heard the shot and ran to help him, and was shot twice herself in the face. Somehow, she survived. She staggered to a neighbor's house and called for help. Police rushed to the scene. They found evidence the killer had walked up to the window, fired through the glass, then entered the house before fleeing. For the first time, he had come to a home. No parked car. No remote road. They took a family man in his own living room. He was evolving, becoming bolder, more unpredictable. And then he simply stopped. No more attacks. No more bodies. The phantom vanished as suddenly as he had appeared, and no one knew why. In the months that followed, law enforcement conducted one of the largest manhunts in the history of the American South. Thousands of people were interviewed. Hundreds were brought in for questioning. Polygraph tests were administered across the region. Every lead dried up. Over the decades, several names have emerged as suspects. The most frequently named is Yowell Swinney, a local drifter and car thief with a criminal record who was in the Texarkana area during the murders. His own wife reportedly told investigators that he had confessed to the killings. But she later recanted, and without her testimony, there wasn't enough to charge him. Swinney was eventually imprisoned on unrelated theft charges, which actually removed him from society right around the time the killings stopped. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Then there's the story of Texas Ranger Captain Lone Wolf Gonzalez, the lead investigator. By all accounts, he believed he knew who the Phantom was. But he could never build a case that would hold up in court. He took that secret to his grave. No arrest was ever made. No charges were ever filed. No one was ever convicted. The case remains officially open to this day. The Texarkana Phantom Killer left a mark that went far beyond the murders themselves. He is widely considered one of the first modern serial killers in American history, predating the cases that would define the FBI's behavioral science unit by decades. In 1976, his story was made into a cult horror film, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which terrified a new generation. A sequel followed in 2014. Criminologists still study the case. True crime researchers still dig through the files. The Texarkana Police Cold Case Unit still lists it as active, and in the town itself, locals still talk about it. Older residents remember the fear. Parents still warn their kids about Lover's Lane, because the Phantom was never punished. Which means, by the law of logic, he lived out the rest of his life as a free man, knowing exactly what he had done. And no one could touch him. 10 weeks, 8 victims attacked, 5 people murdered, and then, nothing. Who was the Texarkana Phantom Killer? Why did he start? Why did he stop? Did he die? Did he move somewhere else? Did he sit down at a dinner table with his family every night, living a completely ordinary life while the people of Texarkana slept with their doors locked and their guns loaded? We don't know. We may never know. And that, more than anything, is what makes this case so deeply unsettling. Because we like to believe that evil gets caught, that killers get punished, that justice comes eventually. The Texarkana Phantom Killer is a reminder that sometimes it doesn't. Some monsters walk free. Some stories don't have endings. Some darkness never gets a name. If this story got under your skin, it should. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you think happened. Who do you think the Phantom was? Like and subscribe if you want more cases like this, because there are stories out there far darker than anything Hollywood has ever written. And I'll see you in the next one.